Hi everyone, my name is Haley, and today I will be presenting the findings of my MSc Counseling Research Project. The project title is The Impact of Employment and Academic Stress on University Students' Mental Well-being. This project was completed under the supervision of Professor Fei Shot at Bangor University. Now, this is the overview for this presentation. First of all, we're going to be talking about why we'll be doing this study. What is the previous study that have been done before? The method of how we collect the data. What's the result? And the findings that we got. So, why are we doing this study? University students today faced a triple challenge: managing academic workloads, maintaining employment, and still finding time to care for their mental and emotional health. Student mental health concerns have sharply increased in recent years. The number of students experiencing anxiety and depression is rising significantly. Academic stress is a major contributor to this. Academic pressure is now a key risk factor for mood disorder in students. Work demand make this even more complex. Chronic stress from both study and employment contribute to burnout, poor sleep, and reduced academic performance. Mental well-being is crucial. It's not just about success, but to a person's ability to function and thrive. Mental health is defined as the ability to manage stress, work productively, and contribute meaningfully to society. So, what do we know so far? Academic stress has been extensively studied and is widely acknowledged to impair students' mental health. Students who work alongside study often report higher stress levels and time conflicts. Studies point out lower class students might be at a disproportionate risk of stress because they are required to work long hours to support their education. Self-care is known to reduce stress, but most studies only describe types of self-care, such as exercise or mindfulness. Lack of study data measure on the time they spend it per week. Study report that US adults spend an average of 2.9 hours per week on health-related self-care activities. Those who engage in less than 3 hours were found to report poor health outcome, justifying the low boundary for low self-care. Similarly, study informed caregivers and observed that those who spent more time on personal self-care reported with lower level of psychological distress and higher resilience, who also underlined the need of investing enough time in each of these areas, usually 7 or more hours per week, in order to attain holistic health results. Also important is the idea that stress arises is not just from workload, but from how we perceive and cope with that workload. We are going to look at the research gap. Despite these findings, most research looks at work, study, or self-care separately, but not together. There is a very limited research examining how students divide their weekly time across these demands, especially in UK universities outside healthcare. There is also a lack of study using time-based thresholds for self-care. For example, how many hours per week actually make a difference? This study aims to fill these gaps, and there will be 3 hypotheses. First, more hours of work would lead to higher academic stress. Second, more hours of study would lead to high academic stress. Third, more hours of self-care would lead to lower academic stress. We test this by using one-way ANOVA. How are we gonna collect our data? The procedure would be participants given informed consent form, complete demographic items, and then complete the ASI and PANAS questionnaire. The questionnaire took around 15 minutes. Bangor students will receive a SONA credits for participation. Questionnaires are hosted on SciToolKit, which included the Academic Stress Inventory, ASI, to measure academic stress level, the International Positive and Negative Affect Schedules, PANAS, to measure mood. Ethics data and security are approved by Bangor University Ethics Committee. A normalized data participant could be withdrawn in any time. Data will be stored in Bangor University OneDrive. Debrief and support information are provided. We collected data from 95 university students. Most were aged 18 to 24, with 81 full-time and 14 part-time students. About half were from Bangor University and half were from the other UK institution. We used a quantitative independent measure design, categorizing hours into groups. Study hours are low, 0 to 10 hours, medium, 11 to 20 hours, high, 30 plus hour, working hour, none, 0, low, 1 to 15 hour, medium, 16 to 30 hours, high, 30 plus hours, and self-care hour, none, 0, low, 1 to 3 hours, medium, 4 to 6 hours, high, 7 plus hours. The main outcome variable was academic stress, so we are using ASI to measure about it. Here are the results that we got. The first analysis looked at the study hours. ANOVA results show no significant difference in stress levels among these groups. Interestingly, the medium group had the highest stress mean, but it wasn't statistically significant. This suggests that academic stress may not increase linearly with study time. Factors like perceived workload and coping mechanism likely played a role. Next, we examined working hour. Again, the difference weren't statistically significant. Surprisingly, the highest working hours group reported the lower stress level. This may reflect resilience or structured time management among students who balance work and study more efficiently. A one-way ANOVA for self-care hours showed a statistically significant difference in stress. The group low and none did report with lower stress. Paradoxically, students with medium self-care, 4 to 6 hours, reported the highest stress. This was unexpected and may suggest a reactive coping strategies. Students turning to self-care after they are already stressed. This finding highlights the quality and context of self-care may be paid more important than duration alone. Realized students self-report self-care activities by using open text responses. Responses can be divided into 4 big groups. The first one is screen-based leisures, which include TV, films, and gaming. The second one will be physical activities. Gym, running, sports are included. The third one would be creativity, hobbies, including crocheting, baking, painting. The fourth one would be emotional care, which includes skincare, family time, and mindfulness. The wide variety suggested by students defined into self-care personally, but not all activities are equally restorative. For example, Watching TV might offer distraction, but not necessarily deep emotional recovery. The absence of significant result for work and study hours may reflect perceived control. Students may not feel overwhelmed if they believe they can manage their workload. Self-care hours showed a paradoxical effect. Why would medium self-care hour group be linked to higher stress? One possibility is reactive coping. Students under more stress may increase self-care as a response rather than using it proactively. This suggested that it's not just the amount of self-care, but it's the purpose and quality that matters. University needs to teach the difference between reactive and proactive self-care. Limitation and future direction could be this study used a self-report data that is vulnerable to bias. Its cross-sectional design also limited the conclusion about causes and effects. We grouped the hours into bands, which might simplify complex behavior. Future research should be using biological stress marker like cortisol, including longitudinal data. Explore how personality or motivation moderate stress. Task structure, quality focused, self-care interventional. To conclude with, here is the key takeaway message. Stress is not just about the number of hours students spend on working or studying. It's about how they manage the time. Self-care must be proactive, but not reactive. Institutions should empower students with resources and education, possibly allowing them with flexibility and support. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your listening. If you have any questions, please drop down below.